Well, here we are. Just set this up and trying to figure out how it all works. I've managed to get a comment in the little comment bar down the side there, so that's a good start, I guess. And we're just waiting to see if anybody turns up. One quick thing, I have got the TV on because I'm watching the results of the American election, which after, 12 hours? First one in, JT, hi, you are the first. Nellie's there as well, Nellie on the land. Seems that you can hear me all right and you can see me all right, so that's really good. Hoots, how are you? So I'm stunned, we've got 3 people in already and we're literally just on 8 o'clock. Yeah, a couple of things. There's Mike's round as well. And Ruby coming in. Wow, they're all piling in now. And some of these, to be fair, sorry for leaning forward. I'm trying to make sure I can see all the comments. Some of these, Hoot, you were talking about this earlier. Reminders popped up, so it is working. Kelly, hi. Womble, Ruby. JT knows Hoot. I think that's because you're both on Alaska Prepper videos and live streams, I think. Yeah, a couple of quick things now that some people are in. I have got TV on because I'm watching the American elections, and if I glance over, it's because I'm waiting to see if any of the remaining states suddenly flip, because there's a couple of Americans in the chat already that they'll know that the election is a little bit tight, and I might touch on that in some of the stuff I talk about today. Well, I will talk about some of that in the stuff I talk about today. There's a couple more people just piling in. Jeanette, hi. Hoot and JT's having a chat themselves. Sean Whippy, hi. Yeah, the flags. It's a bit of a patriot house, this house. I did get distracted. TV's on, I mentioned that. You might hear from time to time some bangs, little explosions. I'm not under attack, but some of the houses in the neighbourhood have decided to set their fireworks off early. The Brits on the channel will know that November the 5th is Guy Fawkes Night, or Bonfire Night here in the UK. And we traditionally have loads of fireworks going off. A little bit similar to New Year in terms of fireworks celebrations. So if you hear that during the live stream, nobody's going to come bursting through my door. Well, maybe a disgruntled viewer might, but it is just people setting off fireworks. Quick look in the chat section to see who's in. Oh, you've got fireworks as well, Ruby. Yeah. Well, if you're from Newcastle, can you tell the accent? There's a little bit of an accent in here. Originally, I'm from up north, as they say in Yorkshire, where I am now. So yeah, you might get a hint of accent that you recognise in there. So where are we? We're a few minutes past 8. Why, aye, man. Exactly, Ruby, yes. Linda Cassidy just piled into the chat section from Liverpool. Hi. You've been in lockdown there in Liverpool for a while now, haven't you, on Tier 3? I will talk about lockdown as part of the conversation tonight. Lots and lots of things related to little crises that are happening around the place, and could they all... I've just had something ping up on mine telling me that I'm live. So well done and thank you, YouTube. Yeah, so lockdowns and general tensions will feature highly in all of this. JT, yes, it is exciting. Bit nervous for me because I've not done this before. And Hoot's got to reboot. Nelly on the land. Can't buy pants in Wales. Do you want me to post you some? Mind you, from tomorrow, I might not be able to either. I'm just need to just click something off the screen here because it's hiding the comments and I can't see the latest one. Southeast England, Lady Lexi. Good evening to you too. Ashby, hi to you too. I'm surprised how many people are piling in, and really, really pleased, clearly. So Sean's from South London, south of the river. So now there's lots of people in. I guess make a start. I confess, got some notes. But I suspect that because they're so far away, I might be bending over a little bit. I've also got copious amounts of coffee, so I've got a coffee mug, and I've also been a prepper. I've got a backup coffee mug as well, because I don't know how long this is going to go on for, but I figured if I made two, then that should see me through. Hoot owl. Your lips are moving with the picture. So that was you buffering, I guess. Jack and Jill from Florida, hi. And Ruby is saying hi to London. Yeah, so I guess get down to business. Hopefully this background is okay. I did my little test earlier on in the week, and we've got a little comment there. Bobcat, very sleepy, had a very late election night. It's clearly not over, is it, Bobcat? Because I keep glancing down here. Mr. Biden is speaking here in the UK. Well, on the UK feed, anyway. I don't know what he's going to say. I'm guessing you'll get it first across in the States. Thanks, Nelly. Yeah, background's fine. The saga of me trying to figure out where in this room, I mean, this is a very small room, actually. I can walk across it in a second, probably. But I did try a couple of different places, and I figured that had the most variety going on in the background, so that if you got tired of looking at me, you could cast your gaze somewhere else at what I've got in the background there. So hi from the island of Jura. So is that North or South Hebrides? Apologies for my ignorance. I'm guessing it's Scottish Islands, obviously, but I don't know which batch of Scottish Islands. Mike's Rural Prep in Scotland. Been following around. Don't know your first name. My first name is Dave, or if you're my mother, it's David. She just refuses. When I was in school a long time ago, everyone started calling me Dave, as you do when you're kids, because it's easy and it rolls off the tongue, and everyone shortens the name. And where am I now? I'm 58 now, so God, that is a long time ago. Yeah, but my mum steadfastly, and my sister, oddly enough, who might be watching this, I don't know, but she refuses to call me Dave as well. So either or, Dave or David. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through as the comments come through to make sure I haven't missed anybody. And lots of people saying that they like the channel. And Ruby's saying hello to my sister already. I don't know if she's here. She might be. She might not be. But if you're in Newcastle, then you're not far away. If you've heard of Furry Hill, little village just south of Durham, that's where Mum and sister are. Mother has no clue what all this is about, and she's in her own little world. So, but my sister does watch my videos, so you never know. She might be lurking because I have no clue what she calls herself on YouTube. Shame on me. So if you are watching, go gentle with me. Don't be ringing me up later and complaining. Anyway, so I am getting a bit distracted. I'm kind of conscious of the comments. Nobody's questioned anything yet, which is nice. Everyone's just saying hi, which is really lovely. What about Big D? whatever, Nelly. As long as it's clean, keep it clean. Yeah. So the subject of the live stream, are things about to go crazy. Um, what? I have no clue what that says, Nelly. What diopter? You'll have to do it again because I don't know what you're asking me. Yeah, are things about to go crazy? And there are lots and lots and lots of things that have been going on this year. Clearly, there's some issues which are bigger than others. But without wanting to go all doom and gloom, I just thought I'd run through some of the stuff that has been going on and still is going on. Keep you updated with the election results. Nothing's moved, to be honest. The figures, apologies for looking down here, but I looked at 6 o'clock this morning before I went to work, and the figures, I did a little screenshot on YouTube. And to be honest, Biden's have gone up about 20. I think Trump's are up 2 on what they were at 6 this morning. Everything that I see scrolling across the screen says 85% counted, 90% counted, too close to call, too close to call. And there's a couple of projections in there, which are just media guess. They really have no clue. And I do wish they would stop. This has been going on now for over 12 hours, constantly on UK TV, just one pundit after another trying to say why they think they know who's going to win this or who's not going to win this. Alan Reeders just came in. Hi, Alan. That's what you look like. Yeah, the shed. I remember when the shed was a little frame, the original shed or cabin. JT saying Biden took Wisconsin. Yeah, that was a short while ago. Close, actually. And yeah, it's surprising how much work has progressed in the land over the last year. And the little original tiny cabin is gradually getting bigger and bigger. And as you know, shorter to get even bigger. And fingers crossed that'll be this weekend. I'm just looking again. Do I keep powdered eggs? Actually, no, I don't keep powdered eggs. The only thing that I have that's powdered is milk, sugar, and salt. I'm hoping that as the new year comes in, I'll be able to get chickens onto the land, and then I won't need powdered eggs. I'll have real eggs. Sandra Campbell, what time is it here? It's 8:10, 12 minutes past 8, actually. Where are you? If you're asking what time it is, you're saying it's 1:11. I'm hoping that's afternoon and not morning. You'll have to say where you are. Sola's been experimenting with her garden this year. Yeah, potatoes, carrots, and garlic. I've had real good luck with potatoes and carrots this year, and I've got my last barrel of potatoes due over the next 2 to 3 weeks. So I'm really keen to see how they progress. The other ones that I threw in as an afterthought have not turned out at all as no shoots, and I'm not really expecting them now. Sandra Campbell's, I'm in Utah, USA, afternoon. Well, thank God for that you're not watching me at 1:10 in the morning. Otherwise, you clearly have no life. If you were watching me at that time. Apocalypse Preparation UK. Civil unrest in the US. Potentially, and we'll touch on that as we. Did you hear that? That's not civil unrest here. That's people celebrating ahead of time. It should be the 5th. Alan's in Berkshire. Hi, Alan. Yeah, so I'll try, and as you're all telling each other where you are, I'll plough on with the subject for today. So yeah. I think it's about to get crazy. Who knows? But there's lots of crazy things been happening this year. and I thought it would be useful just to kind of run through the different types of craziness that's been going on. Starting with unrest, but of a global nature and more military rather than civil. Lots of the old wars continue. So Afghanistan still banging on, Iraq still banging on, Libya is still banging on, Syria, where I used to live, is still banging on. We've got some new wars popping up. Sudan, North and South are having a scrap. You've got Azerbaijan and Armenia currently having a bit of a scrap. So old wars and new wars. Civil unrest. Belarus is still having arguments over whether the president is or isn't. That's a bit apt tonight, actually, with what's going on in the US. You've got Ukraine is still going on. That's more of a war, actually, than a civil unrest, but it's kind of a quieter war. There is definitely civil unrest still popping up in Hong Kong. That's been going on for easily a year now. And then gradually, because of COVID, and we'll touch on that in a while, you've got other little pockets of civil unrest kicking around. People in the UK and Europe, maybe you get to know this news in the US, I'm not quite sure. Dragonfly Neb, high in California. And COVID Hunter. I was wondering if you were going to pop up. Where's my wild food? If regular viewers will probably know that COVID Hunter, West Yorkshire Catapults as well, is in. COVID Hunter, a friend of mine. If you've not seen his hunting channel, go take a look at it. American colleagues, be gentle, please. It's not the huge caliber weapons that you have and are very lucky to have in the US. We're not quite so blessed here in the UK, but in terms of knowledge and skill, go and have a look, because there is a lot of that on that channel, COVID Hunter channel. There you go. You owe me a beer now, the amount of promoting that I've been doing for you. Lots of other people. Somebody actually is, so it's Nath, is it Nath? Am I pronouncing that right? Talking about floods and locusts. I will definitely touch on that in a short while. Captain Ops. So he obviously knows the famous COVID Hunter. So lots and lots of unrest of varying times, whether that's civil or military. As I was starting to say, in the UK and in mainland Europe in general, we've having huge problems over the last few years, actually, with mass migration from Middle East, Central Asia, and more recently, an awful lot coming into the continent from Africa. They're coming by land, sea, and air. We are having lots and lots of illegal migration, which in itself is causing a bit of chaos in lots of countries across Europe, including here in the UK. And that in turn has led to a bit of a spike in Islamist terrorism. And if you've been watching the news over the last few weeks, not counting all of the big problems we've had over the last few years, that's spiked over the last few weeks as well. Thankfully, touch wood, not yet in the UK over the last few weeks, but certainly in mainland Europe, France and Austria have had some pretty significant and dreadful attacks going on. On the theme of unrest, we've got China, who are kind of trying to tighten their grip on Hong Kong and Taiwan. They're flexing their military muscles in the South China Sea and on the border with India. There's actually a shooting war has been going on, small scale, but shooting war. Oh my God, the amount of people that you're all preempting what I'm going to talk about. But it's nice to know that people are thinking about the same things. So if I do miss anything out, do feel free to drop it in the comments section. China's also got its trade war going on. right now with the US. Don't know if you've noticed also, North Korea and Russia and Iran over the last few months have all brought out brand spanking new upgraded ballistic missiles. So from terms of kind of unrest and instability around the world, an awful lot going on. I'm just looking at the comments again to see if there's anything jumps out at me. Food. We will touch on this again shortly, but global food production. I've mentioned a few times in different videos, lots and lots of people on YouTube also commenting on global food supply. Don't know if you've seen a channel called Ice Age Farmer or not. He's been on about this for literally years. And he's out there every day putting out new content. So if that is your thing, go take a little look over there. But I mean, essentially, and somebody has already commented in the comment section, we've had a lot of adverse weather this year and last year, actually, which has had an impact on global crop production. So we've had droughts and flooding in lots of food production countries around the world, which has meant that harvests couldn't go in the ground or harvests couldn't come out of the ground. We've also had pest problems. Somebody did mention in the comments locusts. It's true. In lots of countries around the world, the crops have been decimated by huge swarms of locusts. We've also had various diseases, whether that's crop diseases or in China in particular, things like swine flu that just completely took out their pig herds. And pork is a massive staple in China. So that's had a bit of a knock-on effect, because what's happening lately is that food production countries that normally export all their stuff around the world have suddenly gone, ooh, hang on a second. If we're not producing as much as we normally do, we need to take care of our people first. And lots of countries around the world have suddenly banned exports of rice and other grains to their normal customers overseas. So there definitely is potential there for significant food production and supply disruption as we roll into that new year. Especially if people are stockpiling to protect their own domestic markets and we're not getting the normal stuff that is exported from those countries. Kind of linked to that, the dreaded subject. Is this where I get banned by YouTube for mentioning COVID-19? Prep Essentials, please research ground solar minimum. Ground solar minimum is exactly what that channel Ice Age Farmer has been banging on about for the last couple of 3 years now. And we are actually into a solar minimum cycle right now, which is having an impact on climate. And instead of global warming, it's kind of the opposite, it's global cooling. But yeah, if anybody is interested in that, do look at the Ice Age Farmer channel, because anything and everything you want to know about climate and the impact of climate on food production is in that channel. Christian, the guy's name is. Hoot Owl Holler, give me a thumbs up. Yeah, do that. I'm that busy, I can't even see where the thumbs up are, to be honest, on here. I'm that busy just, I see it, it's up there on the top. Which is telling me, allegedly, that 40 people are in the chat. And I know I haven't, 41. I know I haven't said 40 people's names, so if I have missed you, I am sorry. I'm desperately looking down to see if there's anybody I haven't said hi to. But yeah, thumbs up would be lovely, particularly as it is the first one. And I am doing my best to get through this with the best possible content, shall we say. So yeah, kind of linked into lots of the things we've talked about. So disruption, unrest, and disruption to food supplies. COVID-19, how can we not know about that? It's been with us, well, here in the UK, it's been with us since late January. when the first cases started getting imported by air, people travelling. And it's still here. And this week, particularly, it is getting worse because tomorrow, Thursday, we're back into a full-blown, complete national lockdown. We have been kind of experimenting with little different mini lockdowns around the country, which were gradually getting stronger and stronger. And then eventually, I think the realization dawned on government that, do you know what? It's going to get to a lockdown anyway if we give it another week. So we may as well just get on with it and get it over with. So as of tomorrow, we're into a 1-month national lockdown. Solar says he's caught 400 mackerel in September, frozen with local prawns. Good on you, 400. You must have a damned big freezer. And if you need help with those, I love mackerel, so I'd be happy to take some off your hands. Yeah, so tomorrow we're entering into a full-blown national lockdown. So pretty much everything that we did last time, back in February, March, will come into effect again. So it's don't go out unless you have to, no mixing with other households, pubs, coffee shops, non-essential food stores, non-essential supply stores, gyms, sporting events, all of that has been closed down. We are still allowed to go to work. And indeed, I haven't stopped going to work at all through this, and nor has COVID. And I'm sure, looking at some of the people on here, I'm sure that you haven't too either. Are they going to close schools? Not at the minute, no. Schools are staying open, and universities are staying open as well. There's a huge debate going on in the UK, and it kind of flip-flops. 1 minute it's lock everything down, including schools. The next minute, oh no, we can't cope. We need our relationships and meeting people open back up again. I have no clue, in all reality, where this is going to end up, except in a huge mess next year. Hopefully we will start to see the number of infections plateau, because more and more people are getting it. And early indicators are, if you've got it or you've had it, then you will have a period of immunity. Nobody knows how long that will last, but that should in itself slow the number of new cases down. But I think we're into this, certainly into next year. And as we lock down for 4 weeks now, and the social mixing stops, well, it never will stop. It'll slow down a lot. As that happens, then the number of cases should drop. And I think the plan is that we're doing this now so that we can kind of open up again for Christmas and have a semi-normal Christmas. But I think I've mentioned this in previous videos. If that does happen, the cases are obviously going to go back up again in the new year. So until pretty much everybody's had it, I don't think we're going to see this disappear anytime soon. But this COVID thing has caused no end of issues, not just here, but everywhere in the world. Clearly, some countries have had it worse than others, but in terms of immediate locality, sort of mainland Europe for us here, everybody now in Europe is pretty much going through the same thing right now as we're going to start tomorrow with these full national lockdowns. Sorry, I'm just looking to see because it's that many comments whizzing by. Antibodies only last 2 months. I honestly don't know. And I'm not sure if anybody really does this early in the game. People have had it. There have been a couple of reinfections, I do know that, but it is numbers. It doesn't seem to be everybody who's had it, give them a few months, is catching it again. But I do think it's a bit early to know for sure. but yeah, it's causing all kinds of problems because we've got travel restrictions, whether that's international travel. So business is grinding to a halt. Tourism clearly is ground to a halt. Local travel between towns and cities has been disrupted. So that's causing issues. Your ability to freely associate with people has clearly been limited all the way through this, and is clearly going to be even more limited again. As of tomorrow, manufacturing, certainly in the first lockdown, was massively hit as pretty much everything started to shut down and we were down to key workers only allowed to go to work. And it will, to a lesser degree, be hit again. And it's also hit not just because of lockdowns and people not being allowed to go to work, it's been hit because people have been getting sick and not going to work. And people are at home shielding because they're vulnerable and not going to work. So all of that disruption to manufacturing has also caused a massive knock-on effect to the supply chain. So if you do see shortages of stuff in the shops, some of it might be down to a bit of panic buying. It certainly was at the start of the first lockdown, but a lot of it now is just that manufacturing capacity has been dramatically reduced. So they're not able to produce in the same volume and refill the shelves as quickly. Having said that, though, to be fair, I can't say that I've noticed big shortages of anything, ongoing shortages of anything in the supermarkets. There have been the odd occasion where things like rice and pasta might have been in short supply, but generally, I think the supply chain have done a pretty good job, and the supermarkets have done a pretty good job in keeping the shelves stocked. If this was to drag on and on and on, I'm not entirely sure how long they could keep doing that. Because, as I say, the trucks are still rolling pretty much as they were before, but that manufacturing capacity isn't there to the same level as it was before. So, kind of tagged on to that and the manufacturing capacity, businesses in general have been massively hit. The lockdowns and the ongoing restrictions there after the first lockdown have had a massive impact on businesses. So an awful lot, particularly service industry, have been hit, and we've now got significant unemployment. Somebody's saying the toilet roll's gone again. It has this week. People have had another run on the supply chain, so on the toilet roll supplies. So yeah, unemployment and general big problems for the economy as we roll into next year. We've borrowed a shed load of money that we can't really afford to pay back. So I honestly have no clue what's going to happen next year. But it also, kind of going back to that civil unrest and disruption that we were talking about earlier, COVID-19 is also causing an awful lot of an increase now in civil unrest. We're starting to see people protesting against the lockdown. We've had a number of demonstrations in the street around different parts of the country. Not mass scale and to the degree that we've seen civil unrest in the US over similar issues. But they're there nonetheless. And the longer this drags on, the more fed up and tired people could potentially become, and that degree of civil unrest could increase. So it is certainly worth bearing in mind. And then finally, and I keep glancing down at the screen, we've got the US elections going on. So all you guys and girls across in the US, I really do feel for you. We've had a similar kind of issue with Brexit here in the UK, which is yet to be completed after over 4 years of trying. But we have got a deadline again, 31st of December this year. We are finally out of the EU, and that is starting to rear its head again. So watch this space with Brexit here in the UK. But yeah, I do feel for you with this election going on in the US. You've had a lot of issues over there with different kinds of protest in the streets over different issues. And the last thing really you need is a contested election result, and the potential for even more civil unrest there. So I have got my fingers crossed for you that it doesn't all turn to complete chaos over this coming week, because of the result, or as we are at the moment, lack of result in the election. So those were the kind of things that I was wanting to talk about in terms of why things might go crazy. And it's such a diverse mix of different things that over this last year have all kind of piled on top of each other. So whether it is little wars going on, old wars going on, civil unrest in different countries, the COVID crisis, food supply chain disruption, whatever it is, all of these things are mounting on top of another. And in terms of global economy, I think all of those things put together could actually have a big impact next year. The global economy could tank, and we could have kind of 2008 economic crisis over again. Add to that the potential disruption in the US because of the election result. That might impact on the stock market, and the US stock market does kind of impact on the rest of the global stock markets. So all these things coming round about the same time just lends me to think that next year is going to be a very rough year. And if we're not prepping now, we certainly need to start prepping. So the kind of things that I would think we ought to be thinking of in terms of prepping for, certainly supply chain disruption, whether that is economic crisis or COVID crisis, both of which could impact civil unrest, whether that's election results in the US, Brexit here in the UK, the ongoing economic crisis, the fight back against COVID restrictions. Who knows? That could get out of hand the longer these things kind of drag on. Connected with both economic crisis and COVID crisis, the potential for unemployment, certainly a huge issue here in the UK, and looking at the news reporting, certainly an issue in the US because of COVID. The risk of you losing your job is probably the number one thing that people should prep for. I don't mean long-term 12 months food stores, but certainly drawing down on debt, saving as much as you can, and having a buffer of normal supplies to last you through the period until you can find another job, no matter how good, bad, or indifferent that may be, because we do all have to pay the rent or the mortgage. So I know in the previous lives, I've had short periods, 2 or 3 months between contracts out of work. I've washed cars to get a paycheck to pay my rent, and just tied me over until the next contract came along. So don't be shy of what you do. There's no dishonour in doing any kind of job to take care of you and your family. Not so much with COVID, though could be if it went crazy and everybody got it and couldn't go to work, but lots of essential services. Civil unrest might do that. And certainly tied into all of those, the potential for rising levels of crime. The more people are out of work, the more temptation there is to do whatever you need to do to get money. The disruption caused by protests and civil unrest acts as a disguise for criminal activity, and we've seen that in big scale riots here in the UK several years ago, and we've seen that recently in the US with you can't say that on YouTube, can you, without getting banned? The protests that have been going on recently in the US, where shops have been getting burnt out and looted. So yeah, rising crime, definitely something to prep for in terms of your home security. So I'm looking at the time, and we've done almost 40 minutes already of me just going on a one-way street. So of all the things that I've been talking about, Um, what are people out there who are on the channel now? What are you prepping for? What do you think is the biggest potential risks that are heading our way next year? Because, yeah, I think I commented on that just the other week, Hedgehog. Me and several 100,000 of other people have been ploughing on through, just doing exactly the same thing that we're doing day in, day out. Somebody says that we're buffering. So you never know, I might suddenly disappear. It's because I've mentioned those things that we shouldn't be mentioning. Yeah, I think the comments have certainly slowed down, and lots of people saying buffering. Now somebody said that the buffering stopped. Somebody else has said, yeah, you're back. Sorry about that. Clearly, some of you have had some problems there. Everything stopped or slowed right down. But I think the comments are coming back up again now. So, yeah, I think we're back. That'll teach me to talk about things that we shouldn't be talking about. And I mentioned the US, and it's. I think everybody in the powers that be over there in the US now are out in cyberspace hunting their enemies down and blocking the flow of information. So yeah, if you've got comments or questions, do throw them out there now, and I'll try and answer as many as I can. I do have to say it's a work night, so it's some point, probably about 9 o'clock. So that's like 15, 16 minutes. I'm going to have to wind it up anyway. Otherwise, I'll be getting told off for not getting to work on time in the morning. But let's have a little look and see what we're saying. Yeah, people are still talking about buffering, and some people seem to have it back and others don't. What's the local attitude like in the UK? To what? Homestead Australia. If it's COVID-19, I think people are pretty much fed up of it now. We have seen a lot of people kicking back on this latest bout of restrictions. I'm going to have to use code words for some of the things. Do I expect a run on the supermarkets in the UK? I think there already have been, on a smaller scale, it seems, because there were news reports this week about some items like toilet rolls, pastas and rice going off the shelves, and the shelves been empty. I think, yes, people will, as we go into this lockdown, but I think people also would start stocking up, because if it's anything like it was the first time around, all of the people that were going to work, and I found this myself, I used to call in on the supermarket on the way home from work, normally on a Friday night, and do my little bit of top up for like things like milk and fresh veg, things that don't keep long. And I was finding that the shelves were empty. So I think some of the people that were in the same boat as me last time around might start just bulk buying themselves, because they can't be bothered turning up at the supermarket and finding the shelves are empty. And so it's like a vicious circle. Did I buy my milk early this week? No, actually, I didn't. I did it on the same day. I did it on Friday. Lots of you still talking about key workers, but you're talking amongst yourselves. Veggies last longer in the freezer. Yep, they do. Unfortunately, here to admit this as a prepper, I've got a very small freezer because my kitchen's very small. JT says everyone seems to be stockpiling up here. I think for everything that's going on and everything that could impact on the supply chain, not just COVID, I think we'd be foolish not to. Certainly in terms of your long-term food stores, so your dry goods, should be banging those away, because at the moment they're still quite cheap. I don't think that's going to be the case next year. Things like rice and beans and grains, I think the price is going to go pretty high pretty quickly, just because of the weather that we've had the last couple of years. Spam and hot dogs aren't that bad. There's nothing wrong with spam and hot dogs, Captain. And spam, particularly calories, big bang for buck. I think I've said that in a few videos, but it is true. Got some bags of dry veg too. To be honest, I've never tried dry veg. I've tried soup mix, which isn't quite the same. Spam's very hard to find here. That's probably because I've got it. I have got so much of it. Spam lasts 5 years. I think you'll find it probably lasts an awful lot longer than 5 years. Cans that I buy generally have a 4 or 5 year shelf life on them anyway when I buy them, and cans will carry on well past their best buy date. I've not seen this person before. Watchity, is it? Lidl is amazing right now for preppers. Yeah, Lidl and Aldi, but also some of the sort of, I don't know what you call them outside the UK. We call them discount stores. People in the UK will know Bargain Madness, or B&M as it is now. They're great for prepping items, and always cheap prices. Over-the-counter medicines as well in those kind of stores. Spam's really versatile since COVID. You're right there, mate, because we do eat that quite a bit at work. I remember your first videos of prepping in the kitchen, and now I'm live. Yeah, I can't believe it, actually, that I am, and that I've been going for over 3/4 of an hour. And I haven't touched my other cup of coffee yet either. That's a bit of a mistake, actually. I should have been downing these as I was going along. Homestead Australia, have I got a moderator? No, is the truth, because this is the very first one. And I don't know, have you seen something in the comments that shouldn't have been there? Or are you just asking in general? If the live streams continue, and I hope they do, because I think it is a good way for people to kind of build a community. And sorry, I'm pointing at you, I'm pointing at the comment section. There's a lot of exchange going on between people. I can see that already, and it's the first live stream. Ashby, cans of chicken breast from Costco. Do you know what? There is a Costco in the UK near me. We don't get the same variety of, sorry, it's my coffee, of canned meats here in the UK that you do in the US. I'm quite envious sometimes when I look at prepper pantries and the US YouTube videos. You can get some like diced chicken in sauce here, but you don't get those cans of chicken breast here in the UK that you do in the US. Next 15 years is going to be crazy, says Nath, or Nath. You have to tell me how to pronounce that. Nath, I'm guessing. Africa's West Asia population growth is out of control. Egypt, Ethiopia water war. That actually is a very good point. They're having negotiations now about that dam. I think probably to try and save themselves from having a war. But yeah, it just kind of proves the point. There's so much going on in the world, and because we are a global, interconnected world now, and we rely, whatever country you live in, you rely on something coming from another country to sustain your population. Stuff that normally, 100 years ago, you'd never have heard of the country, and they could do what they like because it wouldn't impact on you. Nowadays, that's not the case. And one thing in one country, a million miles away, all right, not a million miles away, but you know what I mean, can have a massive impact. What? Poundland, cans of chicken breast. Do they really? Okay. I'm going to have to check that out, because if Hedgehog, thank you for that, because there is one near where I work, and if they have, I'm going to be buying some. Corned beef in cans, yeah, I've got loads of corned beef cans. That's gone up a lot over the last year. I would remember buying that at a pound a can. You'd struggle now to find it under £2 a can. Corned beef, everybody's talking about corned beef now. Somebody's talking about a fantastic deal. I don't know what deal. I've missed it. Why am I missing the deals? Do you know, it's really nice because everybody is chatting to each other in there, and it feels like a real community going on, which I can't believe is happening in the first live stream. And the numbers are quite constant, actually. They're around that sort of between 30 and 40. Shh, Dave. Hedgehogs love to share stories. It is, and do that. Deal. Got over £500 worth of food for about £50 from the bulk out of date, end of best before date shops that sell online. Okay. I am going to have to look at that now, you know, because everybody loves a bargain, and I do love a bargain. A couple of people saying they're enjoying the live chats. I really am, more so because I can see that you're interacting really well, and the more sharing of information we have as a little proper community, the better, because whilst it's a massive community across in the US, it still isn't that big a community here in the UK, and it would be lovely if we could build a big community, prepping community here in the UK, because I think at some point, given all the stuff that's going on still now, I think we are going to need that community support at some point. Farm Foods, yep, if that's a UK store. I haven't got one that close to me, but I'm sure I've heard people at work mention Farm Foods. So there must be one somewhere close to work. Shows the bargains that you buy. The biggest bargains that I'm continually buying are kilo bags of rice and half kilo bags of pasta, because the price has remained fairly stable, even though we've had the COVID panic buying. I really did expect those to suddenly shoot up in price, and they haven't. They've stayed relatively stable, and I'm getting a kilo bag of rice and a half kilo bag of pasta for around about the same price. They're like 40-45p. Is that a service dagger on the shelf? It is a commando dagger that I picked up during my time in the military as a present, a souvenir. And it's bloody sharp, so I have to be careful. And the one underneath was also a gift when I was living out in Uzbekistan, and it's actually a Crimean military, not a sword as such, a fighting knife from the Crimea, the original Crimea, not Crimea as in what's going on right now. I do have lots of little souvenirs kicking around from days gone by. First rule of Prepping Club is don't talk about Prepping Club. Top tip from Solar. Don't forget power cuts, wind up radios, wind up torches, candles. Yeah, there's a couple of videos on the channel. Don't know whether it's time for another one on the subject of alternative power or alternative energy. You'll have seen down at the cabin I've got a variety of different things. I've got the solar for electric, obviously. I've got butane gas for cooking, wood burning stove for cooking and heat. The butane gas also powers the water heater for hot water. I'm hoping that we can expand all of that as I put the garden room extension up. So I'll be plumbing electric and water in there anyway. But yeah, if you want another video on alternative energy, just let me know somewhere in the comments, and because it never hurts to go over. And as I'm doing more and more on the land, I'm learning more and more as I go along. So the things that I've learned and mistakes I've made, I'm always happy to share both learnings and mistakes. Somebody's got a 1,000 watt solar system. That's a bargain, because I've only got 200 watt panels on the roof at the moment. Well, 300 if I count my portable. JT, none of the gifts I received when I left the sandbox reached me at home. That's customs confiscating them. You know you're not supposed to send guns, don't you? Oh, that's another word I'm not supposed to say on YouTube. I'm sure I've missed lots of comments, and if I've not answered any questions that have been scrolling through, I do apologise. But there is a lot of conversation going on there, and sometimes they sit there for a while and I've got a chance to read them, and then other times they just whiz by and I miss 4 or 5 or 6. Effective solar power bank. You can get them on Amazon and eBay, but they're mega expensive. And I have got essentially what is a bank. It's a battery box. So if you've not seen me use that on the videos, and there is a video on how to make one, have a little look. I mean, it's limited in what it'll power because it's only a 110 amp hour battery. But you'll be surprised what you can power off a 110 amp hour battery. Certainly all your gadgets will recharge. I've used it to run water pumps. I've used it on an inverter to run a power tool. Okay, you're limited as to how long you can run something that's drawing quite a bit of power. But if you use it correctly, you can just recharge it. What's called? I bought a house with wood burner and land for gardening. Hedgehog UK. Good on you, because that's exactly what we should all be doing if we get the chance. Try and find our own little spot. Doesn't have to be a mansion in the country or a villa on the beach. Just somewhere where we can keep ourselves to ourselves and try and produce food to supplement while the grid is up, and to replace the grid when it goes down. If you're on Facebook, please come along with my post. Populist Preparation UK. Alaska Prepper's great cooking videos. You're right, I watch Alaska Prepper every video that comes out, and I can't get his live chats when they're live because he's in Alaska, but I do watch them on the replay. So Alaska Prepper, yeah, great channel. Really, really nice, friendly guy. He's not into doom and gloom. He's not a hardcore survivalist. He's just a real nice average guy who is into self-sufficiency and taking care of himself as much off-grid as he can. So yeah, take a little look at AP, Alaska Prepper's channel. Have I been blocked? Apocalypse Preparation UK? No, you haven't. The chat section has it started up again. So no, nobody's been blocked, and I'm hoping everyone's playing nicely in amongst all those comments. And if you're sharing suggestions for other channels, please do feel free, because there are a lot of good channels out there. There's some not so good channels as well, but there are a lot of good ones out there. So do feel free to share amongst yourselves if you've got any good recommendations for what people can watch. A lot of people talking about solar now. Everybody's saying hi and bye. How nice is that? It's nice when people get on. I've just crossed the 1 hour mark, and it is a work night, and I do need to get myself sorted out. I've got to put my living room back together again because it's a good job you can't see out. I have got stuff strewn everywhere to try and get this computer set up so that I can just get me in the background. So I've got cables all over the place. I'm going to have to at some point try and sort out a more permanent way of doing this, because it will drive me crazy dragging all this out. And it sure is, when I finish, going to drive me crazy trying to put it all back again. I also need a proper coffee because they remain as they were. I've not managed to drink those. But thank you very, very much for turning up. I have to say, I am both surprised and very pleased that people have taken the time out to come along to this first live stream. I hope that there was something in there that was of use to you. And I also hope that as you've been going through all the comments and swapping information with each other, that you found that beneficial as well. It's a nice way for people to interact on the sidelines, whilst hopefully getting some decent content out on the live chat as well. So with that, I'll get out while the going's good. We've not been shut down by YouTube. We've not had any big techie issues about buffering or freezing. So I hope it has been good for you all. Thank you all for supporting the channel by viewing the videos, and particularly for turning up for the live stream today. And at some point, we'll be doing it again. The weekend, the weather forecast is not looking too bad for Saturday. There's a 50% chance of rain on Sunday. I have, touch wood, hopefully got a little bit of help on Saturday, so we should be able to get on with a bit of framing for the garden room. You never know, if we throw enough hours at it and the weather's kind to us, we might even get it properly up this weekend. So watch out for progress videos on that over the weekend. So for now, thanks very much for turning up and thanks for watching. And I'm going to close off, assuming I can find out how to do that. And we'll catch you on the next video. Take care, stay safe.